Check? Okay. Okay, we are now coming into regular session of our special meeting of the Town Council, Monday, July 13th, 2026. The time is 7:41, and just for the record, Mr. Morelli left executive session at 6:09, and executive session ended at 7:36. So we are now back 7:42. Okay, we are moving on to item. Oh yeah, we still have two members missing. We're going to just hold for a minute. Sorry, it was a long bio break.
Comfort break. I had an MRI.
Do you have anything written on here that I can? So wait a second. This is 4. Council person is 5.
Actually, the town attorney's.
Oh, do we have to call in?
Yeah,
I disconnected the phone.
Oh.
You might want to use.
He said he just got disconnected, yeah.
7 is town manager's report. That's 8.
Oh, I have water.
Town manager's report 7. This is 8. That's 9. That's 10. And that's 11. Cable advisory. Okay, this came up here. Thanks, Jen. Sorry, Chris and Kristen, I actually reopened, the regular session. So we are in regular session already, and we are videotaping already. So just to be cognizant, we're trying to get the town attorney who's calling in for the meeting. And I believe Lou the Third is absent, right? And the assistant town attorney, Lou the Second, is going to be sitting in today, to today's meeting. Is it working? Yeah, takes 25 minutes to boot up. Once we get the phone system going, we'll get our meeting started.
We're pleased to welcome you to today's call. Please enter your host PIN and press the pound. The conference will begin when the next party joins.
Hey Lou, is that you?
Yes, sir.
All right, Lou, you are on. I'm just gonna block out.
The conference is now locked.
Lou, you're on the line. I'm gonna give Paul, turn over to him for control.
Hey, Lou. Good evening.
Hey.
Thanks for joining us. We are live and recording, and we are in session. We are, okay, we are moving on to item number, is it 4 to the vice chair? Minutes. 4, it's 4, there's a revised agenda, if you remember. So item 4, our motion for our minutes from our last regular meeting,
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the last council meeting.
Second.
Second.
from Kristen, sorry, Mike.
That's okay.
All right, from Chris and Kristen. Any discussion on the minutes? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes unanimously. Item number 5, councilperson communications. Yes, to the vice chair.
Okay, I have a few. I would like to add a motion to the agenda for an open space appointment. Can I make a motion to add that to 10C2?
Motion to add open space appointment from the Board of Finance.
Second.
Seconded, and that, I believe, is it, any discussion on that? And Alex, I believe that's a chairperson motion. That's a town council subcommittee from the chair. Okay, So any discussion on that? Okay. All in favor to add the agenda item 10C2? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thanks. Jen?
Okay, thank you. Few things. Okay, so on June 23rd, I, as well as Councilman Serafino, attended the celebration of life for Technical Sergeant Donald Arthur Dorman at the AquaTurf Club following his burial with full military honors here in Southington. During the ceremony, I had the privilege of presenting a proclamation to the Dorman family on behalf of the town council in recognition of his extraordinary service, sacrifice, and heroism during World War II. The event really brought together family members and veterans, community leaders, and residents to honor he who is a local hero who was finally laid to rest here in Southington more than 80 years after making the ultimate sacrifice of service to our nation. And so I also want to recognize and extend sincere thanks to our town manager, the Veterans Committee, AquaTurf Club, Plantsville Funeral Home, and numerous, too many to count, volunteers who worked tirelessly to make this a special homecoming. Did I forget anything, Josh? Okay, second, on June 26th, Southington welcomed federal, state, and local leaders to Plantsville to celebrate ongoing downtown revitalization efforts and announce an increase in federal funding for the downtown flood mitigation study. So the original grant award was $275,625, which was increased on site by way of marker on the check to $300,000, and will support engineering analysis and planning efforts to address the longstanding flooding concerns in downtown Plantsville, while positioning the town for future infrastructure investments. So attendees included myself, Councilman Zoni was there as well, U.S. Senators Richard Blumenthal and Chris Murphy, State Representative Chris Poulos, Connecticut DOT Commissioner Garrett Ucalito, our town manager, Alex Ricardone, and many members of the community. I did want to recognize also Joanne Alferi, Dawn Maselli, and Mrs. Zomer, who also were longtime advocates of the Pocket Park Initiative and whose dedication helped move the project forward. And Dave, was there anything you wanted to add?
No, you did a great job.
Thank you. We held that check.
Yeah, holding the check was the best.
Yes, this is the best. Also, okay, Southington Police Department Citizens Police Academy. The Southington Police Department recently graduated the first class of its inaugural Citizens Police Academy, a 10-week-long program designed to strengthen relationships between our residents and law enforcement. So participants were provided a behind-the-scenes look at police operations, including the patrol services, criminal investigations, the canine unit, drone unit, hostage negotiation team, dispatch operations, and several partner agencies. The program also included hands-on learning experiences that provided our residents with a greater understanding of the challenges and responsibilities associated with modern policing and just what our SPD is up against on a daily basis. And the academy was coordinated by Officer Jude Medina and reflects the department's ongoing commitment to transparency, community engagement, and most importantly, building trust within our community. It was an outstanding effort by Officer Medina, Captain Armack, Chief Daly, and really the entire Southington Police Department team. I just want to thank them for their leadership and support. I think that this is a really important initiative, and I look forward to seeing future classes and continue with the success. That's all I have.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Can I go?
Yes, Kristen.
So July 4th, as you all know, we had that terrible, terrible storm here. I just want to say thank you to Public Works, thank you to our fire and police and town officials for their strong response in helping with the cleanup. It was a pretty precarious night with a lot of calls for service, so we appreciate all that they do. That's it.
Echoed by the full council. Thank you, Kristen. Dave?
I'd just like to take this opportunity to remind everybody that on July 24th, we'll be celebrating our annual Italian American Festival on Center Street. Hope everybody can attend. It'll be good food, good entertainment, great time for everybody, whether you're Italian or not.
3 days, right? It starts on the 24th?
July 24th, 25th, and 26th.
Lower Center Street.
Lower Center Street.
Thank you. All right. Anybody else? Councilperson Communications, Chris.
Yes, a couple. I want to say 3 or 4 meetings ago, I had given an update after talking to the town manager on Berlin Street, just because a lot of residents have reached out about that. So Alex forwarded an email to the full council from the water superintendent, because that was a water department project, outlining, just to share with the public, that that project has now been moved back, and tentatively it will be completed Berlin Street and Lacey Lane by Friday, July 31st. And the reason it was given is the patchwork required by the Connecticut DOT was slow going. So I don't know if there's any other update related to that aside from what you sent to us? No? Okay. So again, just to update our residents and make sure they're aware, hopefully by the end of the month.
And just for clarification, that is not final paving. That's
Right,
only
right.
for the construction work and temporary patchwork.
Right, and I explained that at that last meeting, but that's just patchwork. Next year,
Good
the summer of
patchwork.
2027 will be the final paving.
Thanks.
Thank you for that. Yep. Second, in March of this year, 2026, Kratom was classified as a Schedule I controlled substance. However, some of our smoke and vape shops still are advertising Kratom. I'd like to ask our police department to tell them to remove those. Should have been removed within how many days, Alex, of the adoption at the state level?
July 1st.
Okay, so if we could, again, I'm just concerned that that's still being advertised, and it is a Schedule I controlled substance, according to the state of Connecticut. The last item, I just wanted to again, get clarification. With the budget process, and I know the Board of Finance is trying to get some additional information as well, but I'm concerned that the $833,000 that came from the state after the fact, well, before we voted on the budget, but kind of in the 11th hour, $833,000 that was added back in, really related to educational funding. I'm concerned, I know the Board of Finance is talking about this, that it's not accounted for in the mill rate. So I'm trying to understand how that happened and how are we gonna make up that $833,000 if it's not factored in when we calculated the mill rate for our residents. So I don't know through the town manager if,
To the town manager.
Great question. So I want to go back to the budget vote, because I think there's a little bit of miscommunication and possibly some misunderstanding on the 833 or the 834. When the motions were made, the motion was made to set the budget for the town of Southington, general government, and the Board of Education at certain numbers. There's also discussion at the same time that there would be a transfer in the future of the state's 834 to the Board of Ed. It wasn't put in the budget. The Board of Ed wasn't budgeted that money. The town government wasn't budgeted. There's just a discussion how money may go there in the future. So that money was never put in the budget from day one, so the town council never budgeted for it. Now, the question is, what happens going forward? There was discussion about giving the Board of Ed an extra 834. It wasn't voted on, it wasn't approved. However, the town council, I believe, for watching the YouTube video 14 times, intends on getting them 834 at some point. So there's 3 ways we can do it. It wasn't budgeted, so the Board of Finance could have artificially increased the mill rate to overtax the residents to create an artificial budget surplus, and then transferred that money and drawn it down and given it to the Board of Education. That's one. They didn't. So the Board of Finance did not do that. They did not vote to artificially inflate the mill rate. Second thing they can do is the Board of Finance can recommend taking out of the general fund, or also known as the undesignated rainy day fund. There's been no discussion on option 2 yet. That's for the Board of Finance. I assume they'll talk about that in the future. The third thing that they can do, and this is what I have spoken to the chair of the Board of Finance, and I believe several members of the council, is we have a $2.4 million
carryover.
I'm actually gonna give you the real number because our audit did just come out this past week. $2.455 million budget surplus from the budget that ended July 1st of 2025. So my suggestion would be just to harvest, if the Board of Finance and the Town Council want to give the 834 to the Board of Ed, harvest that money through in a one-time appropriation. That's my recommendation if that's what the will of the council is.
Just let me add on to that, though. Just to be clear, the budget vote that this town council took was calculated. So it was presented to us, that budget number was calculated in that, and the way that it was discussed and structured here is the way it was passed to the Board of Finance. So nothing has changed from our vote to the Board of Finance. I think some people are questioning about how we structured our vote, because we vote on a town government budget, and we vote on a Board of Education budget. In the town government budget, we went through line by line, and then the Board of Education, we voted as a whole. So there's no error on our side, and there's no shortfall, really. The vote that we made is the vote that we made. So, some people have different perspectives about how they would like to have seen the mill rate set, but there is no shortfall and there is no error. It's a matter of how people want to see the mill rate calculated. Now, that's not a town council job. That's a Board of Finance job. So when the budget leaves here, the Board of Finance decides, based on our actions, how do they want to set the mill rate? And they can set the mill rate as they wish. They can set the mill rate equal to, lower, or higher, and that's their purview.
So I don't know, I guess what I'm asking then is, when the mill rate was set, and when I say we, I know it's the Board of Finance, I mean the town of Southington.
Yes.
When the mill rate was set, was it $834,000 short because of the way the money was calculated from the state? That's what I'm wondering, because
No.
I've heard through the Board of Finance discussion of where are we going to make up this 833? And Alex, you just yourself said we can take it from these three different areas. And Paul, you
I said that
there
at the last
isn't.
meeting. I said that at the last meeting. If we go through this budget cycle, which, by the way, this isn't a bad problem to have. We're basically saying that we have a year where we have to manage to our budget. And instead of having an extra 833 in fluff, we probably are going to be closer to on budget. So there's no error, there's no shortfall until we get to the end of the year and we find out whether we have the funds or we need to transfer some of the carryover funds or not. So when you ask if there's a shortfall, I don't think that that's a,
I don't think, and I'm not,
Accurate
I
question.
don't think that there was intention to it. What I'm saying, though, is, was that $834,000 accounted for properly when the mill rate was set? Because I'm told, and Alex, again, I'm listening to what you just said, that we've got to come up with this $834,000 unless there's a surplus in the budget at the end of the year. But that means we didn't calculate it properly, knowing that that should have been accounted for.
So I disagree with you, and I'm gonna just go back one more if I could. The 834 was never budgeted for. It was never given to the Board of Ed. It was never put in the town budget. And I didn't do the budget. I assume the reason was the town council didn't want to create an artificially higher budget going forward next budget cycle because it was a one-time fund. So that 834 is off budget. It's been something that the town council said they would give, but it was never purposely put. It's my understanding, I didn't make the motions, I didn't vote on it. My understanding, it was never put in the budget because you'd be creating an artificial anti-fiscal cliff next year. So it's an off-budget requisition that was, I don't want to say promised, but it was spoke about that it would be going over to the Board of Ed within the fiscal year. So I don't want to say it wasn't a problem, it wasn't a mistake, but it was not put in the budget for what I believe to be proper reasons. If you wanted to have the budget be artificially higher, it could have been budgeted for, but then you'd be starting next year with $834,000 higher than the last year.
you could, like, for an example, we could have artificially budgeted for 834 more that maybe we
Correct.
didn't need, but then next year we'd be starting with that artificially higher base budget, and so that's what's saying, what the town manager's saying, so.
I guess there's more, the Board of Finance is still reviewing it. I don't think they've come to a conclusion with this yet, correct?
They haven't, and their budget didn't
Okay.
include the 834. So the town council just made a statement that 834 extra would be going over at some point, but it was never put in the budget. So that night you voted, it was not put in the budget.
That's my point.
So there's no guarantee the Board of Ed's gonna get that money. It was never voted for.
But here's the thing, Chris, it is a done issue. The Board of Finance is the one who sets the mill rate. They do the calculations. If the Board of so for example, we all got a spreadsheet. All of us got a spreadsheet, and the Board of Finance got a spreadsheet a few days before the Board of Finance set the mill rate. That spreadsheet was a calculation that the finance director did and gave to the Board of Finance. If the Board of Finance didn't like the way it was calculated, they could have taken action at their meeting, but they didn't, which is not a problem, by the way. It's not an issue. It's the way the mill rate was calculated. So there may be a disagreement amongst the Board of Finance members about how the mill rate's calculated, but it doesn't mean that there's an error, and it doesn't mean we're gonna be short. It doesn't mean we're not gonna be short. It's gonna mean that we're gonna have to manage our budget like we do every single year, and if we have a surplus, we have a surplus. If we don't, then we figure out how to make reductions throughout the year and manage to our budget like we always do.
Mr. Chair, if I may?
Please.
I will say that the Board of Finance, there was discussion about raising the mill rate. The chairman actually brought up, should we raise it
Yes.
a little bit for a cushion, for unexpected, other issues, receivables? That was voted down 5-0, unanimous vote to not raise the mill rate. So there was a discussion of raising the mill rate.
Dave, you were gonna say something. Go ahead.
You're going to have to refresh my memory a tad, but as I recall, we actually cut the Board of Education by $833,000.
Correct.
Knowing that we were going to get the $833,000 from the state. But we didn't, it wasn't shown that way when the Board of Finance got the paperwork to set the mill rate, when they saw the budget written out. The 833 was already taken out of the Board of Education budget. And as you know, next year, by state statute, you can't lower what the Board of Education got the previous year. So they're going in short $833,000. Whether we'll get it later, of course, it'll find its way to the Board of Ed, but that wasn't the problem. They calculated the mill rate on a number that was $833,000 short.
And that's the Board of Finance's job. That's their job. Our job at this town council was to decide what the budget was for the town government and what it was for the Board of Education. We all sat here and we voted to reduce the Board of Education, the 833, and we said in discussion, so we lowered the budget, and we said in discussion that the 833 would go over through an appropriation process that the Board of Finance controls later on. They have full control over it. So if the Board of Education makes a recommendation to the Board of Finance, like they do every single year for funds, the Board of Finance has an opportunity to take a decision on that, just like they had an opportunity to take a decision on the mill rate. But that's not, Chris, it's not it's really a Board of Finance matter.
But procedurally, Paul, the Board of Finance, after the council votes on it, we're the last vote except for setting the mill rate. The Board of Finance can't reverse what the council decides. You're saying they could have done that at that. I don't think they could have.
Yes.
They only have a decision at that point of what to set for the mill rate.
Correct, and I said last time, if you're talking about the 833,000, you're talking about 0.2 or 0.3 mils. It's a small number. So at that time, if the Board of Finance, when they set the mill rate, felt as though the revenues were low, the Board of Finance could have set the mill rate, instead of setting the mill rate at 23 what's the number? 23 points, they could have set it 0.2 mils higher. And had they done that, the 833 would have come in as a surplus into the general fund, and they could have used it to fund whatever they wanted to. But they saw the calculation. They got the same calculation we all saw. They all got it. It's a public document. And they could have looked at the calculations. I mean, our budget books are here. Simple math. It's literally addition and subtraction. They could have looked at the numbers and they could have said, oh, I want to have an extra 800,000, but they decided not to. And that's, I'm not saying that's an error or it's not an error, it's just the decision they made. So that it's not a council decision for us to continue on here.
I don't know, I view it as the buck stops here, not pointing the finger at the Board of Finance. And again, to me, the Board of Finance is, their job at that point is to set the mill rate. That's it. But like I said, I know they're getting more information, so let's, the discussion's going to continue at the Board of Finance, and then we'll have another opportunity to discuss it at the council level.
And Chris, just remember, the finance director sat right next to Mr. Zoni during the town council meeting when we all talked about the numbers. This council could have asked the finance director any question about the budget, the way that it was going to be represented to the Board of Finance, what the total numbers were. We did that. We did what we thought was
Well,
right, and we
my-
voted on it.
My understanding was the recommendation was for it to be counted as revenue only, and it wasn't done that way at the council level, even though that was the recommendation.
No, we voted to
So-
lower the Board of Education budget. That was, it was purposeful. Tony, go
Yeah,
ahead, sorry.
sorry, just a point of information, what Dave said, I think it's important, which is, if the 833 had been added as revenue to that budget for next year, okay, what would have happened, the following year? The following year, the 833 would disappear, because the money that was attached to that was provided by the state, which goes away. It was a one-year thing. That was the issue. And you don't want to set the Board of Education up for 833 in their budget, that they're not, essentially, it's a fiscal cliff. And we've heard about those things before, right?
We don't
I
want
have
that.
been saying that
We
with
don't want
COVID
that.
money
Yeah,
for
we've heard
years.
about
I'm
them.
not suggesting
Yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah.
I-
Yeah, right. Anyway.
I
that's-
haven't
that-
been saying that, Tony?
Oh, yes, you have.
Oh, okay.
And sometimes you were wrong. But Dave,
Maybe
the
you were wrong,
point,
Tony.
Oh, no, not me. But Dave, the point is that that they would have had that 833, they would have dropped off the cliff. There's money they didn't have in their
The
budget.
Board of Ed
That's the
budget
issue.
was already cut by 1.6 million from the Board of Finance.
And then we cut it
So
another
it was down
833.
to a lower level.
Right.
We chose to cut it even more.
Correct.
by the
Well, no, we
833,
voted to
knowing
cut the
that
increase.
833 would
We
come
voted
back
to cut the increase, which was rather a lot.
All right, as I said, I'll let it go because I know it's continuing at the Board of Finance. We obviously are going to agree to disagree, but we'll see what information comes up from that review.
Thanks, Chris. I think we're still in public communications, right?
Council.
Communications. Did you have anything else beyond that one?
No.
All right.
No.
Save the best for last.
Oh,
All right.
just-
Go ahead, Tony.
I got a quick one, very quick one, which is I went along to the Music on the Green for the America 250 thing with John Cougar Mellencamp band. It was real good, but that's what I wanted to say was I was interested to see that the town had organised an event for their own employees to watch the music on the town green. And it's my understanding they're going to have more events like that to give more of a good feeling, for the town workers. And so I just wanted to point that out. It's a great thing to do, and I hope to see more of that. Okay.
Thank you, Tony. That was a wonderful event. Anybody else? Councilperson Communications, Jim.
Yes. Thank you, Paul.
You're welcome.
As Paul had stated earlier, last Wednesday, July 2nd, the town said goodbye to a lifelong dedicated servant, Edward J. Polcock Jr. And I, as an attendee at this funeral, need to say that it was so gratifying for me to see the outpour of support for Ed's last ride. I'd personally like to thank the following: the Sullyton Fire Department for the flag drops and attendance showing solidarity to a great man, the Sullyton Police Honor Guard for standing watch over Ed at attention for hours, to all other Sullyton Police Department members, present and past, that took the time to show respect and honor to their brother. A solid honor from the motorcycle police from Cromwell, Waterbury, Wallingford, Cheshire, and Southington. Ed had a permanent smile when he was a motorcycle cop, and seeing the escort brought memories and tears to my eyes. I'm sure that I missed some, as the funeral was for a lifetime volunteer to the town that Ed was so passionately loved. My heartfelt thanks to everyone who came. In closing, I was asked to echo these same remarks on behalf of the family. They were humbled and in awe of the efforts to bring Ed Polcock Jr. to his final resting place. They appreciate all the love, prayers, and huge show of support for his family. Sincerest thanks and appreciation from the Polcocks.
Thank you, Jim. Mr. Pocock will certainly be missed. Any other comments? Okay, hearing none, we will move on to item number 6, report of special committees. Item A, EMS.
The
Kristen.
EMS committee met on Thursday, June 25th, and we looked at the call volume. During January through May of 2026, the review period, there was a total of 2,852 medical calls, compared to 2,913 medical calls during the same review period in calendar year 2025, representing a slight decrease in the overall call volume. The committee noted that fluctuations in call volume are typical and by themselves do not indicate a trend, as demand for emergency medical services is inherently variable. During January through May 2026, the review period, there were a total of 136 overloads, with fire department assisting on 74 of those overloads. When comparing overloads to total call volume, the average overload percentage for this review period was 4.73%. For the same review period in calendar year 2025, there was a total of 146 overloads, with fire department assisting on approximately 64 of those. The overload percentage compared to the total call volume was 4.9. Overall, the data reflects a slight decrease in both total overloads and overload percentages during the January through May 2026 review period when compared to the same time frame in 2025. Response time compliances, this is something that the committee looks at. AMR met or exceeded the 90% response time compliance standard for January through May. The average compliance percentages for this period are: priority 1 was met at 90.54%, and priority 2 is 96.98%. The EMS committee remains committed to ongoing oversight and collaboration with all stakeholders to ensure the continued delivery of consistent, quality EMS services to the community. We do have ongoing work. The EMS contract development remains in progress. Our continued analysis of call volume patterns to align with staffing with peak demand, and the ongoing monitoring of response time performance and compliance.
Thank you. Any questions on EMS? Okay, hearing none, moving on to item B, America 250. We have Pastor Triano here, former council chairwoman Victoria Triano is going to give us a wonderful update. We had a lot of activity celebrating America's Independence Day, 250th.
Yeah. So good to see everybody.
Great to see you.
And, it's good to be here tonight. June and July, especially June, was very active. And July is getting active. Right now, for the rest of the month of July, we're partnering with our platinum sponsor, which is Hartford Healthcare. And they are doing tomorrow, we are opening up the new Bradley Memorial Campus for the hospital. And so everybody's invited. It starts at 3:30, I believe. Some folks are 3 o'clock, and everybody's welcome to come. There's going to be a lot of giveaways, and America 250 will be well represented. And the following day, it's National Hot Dog Day, and the Orchards of Southington is providing hot dogs for anybody who wants to come out at 11:30 to 1:30. And we will also be there just thanking the public, and it's going to be really exciting. We have a couple of other things going on that are still in the hoppers for July. We may very well be helping the Women's Auxiliary for their drive-in. We've offered, we're waiting to hear. But there are many things that are coming up very quickly. And then, of course, we use August to kind of prepare for Apple Harvest Festival, and we'll certainly be a part of Apple Harvest Festival. And so things are moving along and well received. It's just so great to be in Southington, and no matter what party we are, no matter our affiliation, people are coming up and enjoying themselves, and that's really what we wanted to do. So I'll take any other questions, and if there's anything else you'd like to know, very much, I'd love to tell you.
Any questions for the chair? Please.
Madam Chairman, can we get you on record now to be the chair of the 300th anniversary?
Yeah. So I probably won't be the.
Why not?
I've got a gig going on in Vegas, so, but if I am, it would be an honor. Thank you.
A lot of great things. Stay
Take care,
tuned.
everybody.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Okay, item C, open space. Jen.
Yes, okay, so our open space committee for July was canceled. Our next meeting is August 6th. Just a few items, though. As you're driving by on Pleasant Street, the Pleasant Street barn is beautiful. It's even got the lanterns, it's amazing. So, and we'll have an update our next meeting, Pete Romano will be there to give us an update. Do you have any?
I can give a little update.
Yes, that'd be great.
The barn itself is pretty much, thank you for reaching out today. The barn itself is pretty much complete. One of the things that has to be done now is leveling the ground outside. There's a bit of a steep cutoff outside the barn. So we're actually working with the high school because there's extra fill up there to potentially move some of that fill, which is town fill, right, and move it down to the Pleasant Street property too, so we avoid that expense. So it's a good way to combine sources for both projects. And the projected end date for the whole thing is hopefully by the middle of August, even though the barn itself is pretty
That's
much
great.
complete, yeah. And then the last thing, which I think will be helpful, I tried getting it for today, but to find out where we're at with the grant funding, because the Ag Science does want to add some paddocks. That wasn't the master plan, if we remember as well. It's just, they may not be in the exact same locations, and we need to make sure there's enough funds
Okay.
left for that.
Perfect. Okay. So we'll have more information on the barn at our next meeting, and also talk a little bit about maintenance as well. School Street property, unfortunately, one of the open space signs located on the property was removed, but thanks to the quick response and assistance of town staff, that sign has been replaced. So just thank you for those efforts to do that. And then I want to also thank the Yeti program, who recently painted the Grosky barn. They're also going to be working with Dave LaValle on updating some boards and some additional painting. So the goats told me they're very happy. More to come on updates in August.
Thank you. Any questions on open space? Okay, item D, Apple Harvest Festival. Chris?
All right, the committee met last week on Wednesday, July 8th. A couple things to share out with the community. We're still looking for arts and crafts vendors, so to date we have 24, but we're still looking for more. Remember, the Arts and Crafts Fair is for the second weekend only of the festival. So again, still plenty of spots available. Our booth fees, on the other hand, the booths are at capacity unless we don't secure as many sponsors as we hope to receive. So we've collected about $80,000 in revenue so far for the booth fees. And there is a wait list. There's 3 people on it at the moment, just in case sponsorships don't come through and there does become availability for a vendor. So we'll keep an eye on that. Sponsorships to date, we've collected $20,100 collected, and we have an additional $15,500 pending, meaning the commitment was given. We just haven't deposited those funds yet. And finally, our last RFP went out for our busing, and we awarded the bid to NBT. NBT has been a great partner to the festival for many years, so they'll provide shuttle bus services for the 2 weekends of the Apple Harvest Festival.
Great. Any questions on the Apple Harvest? Can you just reiterate, did you say that there's still 3 booth opportunities left?
No.
No.
So there's a wait list of
A
3.
wait
So
list of
right
3.
now, they're full.
We're backlog 3? Okay.
Yes, but if for some reason, because we reserve spots for sponsors, if the
Right.
sponsors don't take those spots, then we'll backfill them with vendors, and there's a wait list of 3.
And there was a concern about representation from fire on Fridays. Can you just talk a little bit about that and what the decision of the committee was with that?
Sure, the conversation, not at this meeting, but the last meeting, was really about, do we need to increase the amount of services? So we had some discussion with that. We decided there's really nothing documented that we want to increase the services. So we're not cutting anything, we're just maintaining the same level of service that we've had in previous festivals.
Okay. Any
And-
questions
and-
on?
No, and the conversation came up because we were talking about overtime, like salary increases with police, fire, and public works. So that's where the conversation originated.
Okay. Okay, any other questions on that? Okay, hearing none. Item E, sewer. Tony?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, quickly, just 2 or 3 things. This is the first meeting, it was the first meeting of FY '27. So we had a presentation for the finance director, Chrissy Marino, about our finances to kick off the year. What it sort of showed was, over the last 8 years, we've invested our reserves heavily in proactive maintenance and infrastructure projects designed to add efficiencies to the sewer plant and its network of pipes and pump stations. It's over and above the $50 million investment in the creation of the brand new sewer plant with additional services, which we opened just a few years back. So the reserves at the beginning of those 8 years were like 13 million. They're now about 7.1 million. And most of that was spent on those kind of projects. We still have a big project left to eradicate the PCBs at the plant that were discovered. We're working with DEEP on that. We don't know how much that will cost yet, and we don't know how much some of that will be paid by General Electric too. But our rate of investing in infrastructure can't be continued much longer without additional monies or without slowing down the infrastructure investment. So that's something that we'll have to balance throughout the rest of the year. But we've done so much, again, the last few years, that we're in a very, very, very healthy state. Having said that, we did add a new infrastructure project, which was methanol tank. We get rid of essentially nitrates that come into our water. We had the first capability in our sewer plant actually in Connecticut, or one of the first, that enables us to do that. You get rid of nitrates out of the water, the nitrates don't flow into the river and don't flow down the coastal basin, and they don't, because loads and loads of algae grow, and we've seen that in other places, which leads to dead spots, and it hurts the environment. So we have the plant. Methanol is the chemical agent that essentially attacks the nitrates and turns it into nitrogen, and nitrogen goes into the atmosphere. So it's important to have one of those tanks. We had two, but methanol is also very caustic. It eats away at things, and it ate away at one of our tanks. So we're looking into a stainless steel tank, which won't be susceptible to that, and that'll be 125 grand, or thereabouts. Finally, we all got an email from the town manager a few days ago about how we were able to grow a position, an employee in town, into a